Welcome back. It's been quite the morning. As you know, if you've been here from the earlier Bible studies, quite the morning, quite the technical difficulties. So, by the grace of the Most High, we're continuing in our study of the prophecies of Jeremiah. We did, even though we got interrupted a lot, we did chapters 42 and 43 earlier. By the grace of the Most High, we were able to finish those two chapters. And now we're in chapter 44. And chapter 44 introduces a subject that is, welcome back, Isha, the subject that is somewhat controversial in the society in which we now live. And this is, of course, the controversy of it is also in and of itself a sign of the end. In the Bible, let's first take a look at what the word says. Let's go back to Genesis. Let's start in Genesis chapter 3. Let's start in Genesis chapter 2, actually. Let's start in Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 16. Genesis chapter 2, verse 16. And Yahweh Most High commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And Yahweh Most High said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a help meet for him. I will make him a help meet for him. And out of the ground, Yahweh Most High formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all the cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. And Yahweh Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahweh Most High had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. So the Most High formed man out of the dust into his own image. He formed woman out of the man, from the man's image. Let's see if we can get another witness to that. Let's see if we can find another witness to testify to that. Let's see. Yes. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. We'll come right back to Genesis. But we went to two witnesses here. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Going to begin at verse 8. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, beginning at verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the master. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man by the woman, but all things are of Yahweh. So the woman came from the man. The man came from the father. Okay, let's go back and let's look at verse 3 of this same chapter. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Messiah, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the Messiah is the Father, Yahweh. So the order is Father, Messiah, man, woman. That's the order. Father, Messiah, man, woman. Okay. Now, he says here, they are together in the Messiah, the man and the woman. They're together. He is not doing away with the order, as we're going to see in another verse, but he is saying that in the Messiah, we work together. Well, look, that was the original intent, was it not? Adam was made, and we look back in Genesis chapter 2. Adam was made first, and he needed a partner, a help that was meet. And help with when it means meet means that was sufficient, that was proper. He needed a proper help for him. Every animal was male and female. He noticed that, male and female. There was Adam, but there was no female. So the Most High made him a help, made him someone that was appropriate for him. It wasn't for him to have a female horse or a female elephant or a female leopard. That wasn't appropriate for him. He needed a woman or something made in the image of him, like the female leopard was in the image of the male leopard, like the female elephant was in the image of the male elephant, and so on and so forth. He needed a help meet for him. So the Most High made woman from him. Now, the harmony is that they're supposed to work together. But the man is the head of the woman. But they're working together. A woman that tries to take the place or lead a man is out of the order of the Father. And a man that ignores or disrespects or downplays the role of the woman is like a man that has no counselor, like a man going without counsel, without help, without advice, for the woman given to him as a help that was fit for him, not to rule over him, but to be a help fit for him. Okay? Our Babylon society in which we are in has confused all of that. And how it started was when men began, especially this is true of the men coming from Europe, beating their wives, killing their wives, abusing the woman. They came to places like America, and the woman was treated, to say, second-class citizens. So that over the time, the woman began to say, we want to say in what goes on in this new nation of ours. We want to have a say in how things are run. And then you had women's suffrage, which is the women's desire to be able to vote. to be able to vote, to have a say in the republic. Took a while, but in Europe and in the US, the women got eventually the right to vote. That wasn't enough. In the 1960s and 70s, an Ashkenazi woman named Gloria Steinem wanted an equal rights amendment to say guaranteeing women equal rights with men. But it went farther. She wanted women to be men, to be the same as men. Now, why some people would deny that she wanted that, but let me explain. It is impossible for a woman and a man to be the same because they're just two different beings. A man is built in one way and a woman is built in another way. Now, they both have brains, they both have hearts, but to say they're the same is like saying an apple is the same as a pear. They might both be fruit, but they're different fruit. Okay, they're different fruit. And really, the women's liberation movement seriously was the Caucasian woman argument against the Caucasian man. At the time, the Caucasian woman gained the right to vote. Black women still couldn't vote. Black men still couldn't vote. So it wasn't black people's argument. It wasn't the argument of the Hebrew. It was an argument of Europeans among themselves. So the equal rights movement of women was the Caucasian woman argument against her man, saying she wasn't being treated right. She wanted to do more than raise babies and keep a home. She wanted to be able to make as much money as he did. She wanted opportunity to rule over him. This wasn't anything to do with the poor, the Latin people, the black people. That wasn't anything to do with them. But in order to strengthen their argument, they roped in other people to get more numbers. So that the black woman is now being confused because the combination of her man being trodden upon by society so that he doesn't have the same opportunity, he doesn't get the same education, he is a target, he is public enemy number one. That combined with the media against him and the equal rights movement, you get many women of Hebrews that are in better positions than their men, and to the point where some of them are, a lot of them are by themselves because they bought into the argument of the European. That's their argument. Further perversions came with Black Lives Matter, which is really a lesbian movement. Black Lives Matter is really a lesbian movement. There's not one black life that has been saved because of Black Lives Matter. It's a lesbian-led movement. They have grown black men wearing dresses. I seen just this week, they had some basketball player wearing a dress. They are trying to demasculinize the Hebrew men. This is Asatan's attack on the chosen people. And all through history, Asatan has been trying to use the woman. Use her. Why? First of all, Asatan has no power to create men and women. Father has that power. Messiah was used and given that power. Woman has a power to recreate, to procreate, to bring forth a new human being. Woman could do that. Asatan cannot. So what would he do in that scenario? He must degrade her and then use her to degrade the man. This is what pornography is. Pornography is the degradation of man and woman. Man and woman were created noble beings, covered in the light of perfect righteousness and wisdom, in harmony with each other and with the earth. Disobedience to the Father crushed all of that. When you have sex with a woman and you're a man, and you're a woman and you have sex with a man, the Most High intended it that when you're becoming one flesh, you're becoming one spirit. He intended that. And the coming together of you as two spirits becoming one is between you and your Creator. He intended that. What Asadan did with pornography is he makes it just like two dogs having sex in the street. Two dogs can have sex in the street. You can see two dogs having sex in the street. They don't care that you're watching them have sex in the street. They're dogs. They're animals. There's no reason behind that. All of that is strictly instinct. It's animalistic. We were made higher than that, but what pornography does is bring us back down to the level of the dog and of the animal. It puts it on display. It treats the woman like a whore and the man like an animal. That's what it does. Somebody asks you, what's the problem with pornography? God gave us sex. He didn't make us to have sex the way a dog has it, or in front of everybody like a horse. Horses and dogs don't combine spirits. Human beings was meant to combine spirits. So he tries to degrade us in things like that. I don't even need to mention the problem with child pornography. Then he, on the other hand, he exalts the woman. Many times in history, there's been goddesses. In fact, there's a spirit out here now that's telling women to be goddesses and divas. That's not new. Let's go back to Genesis where it started. Genesis chapter 3, beginning at verse 1. Genesis chapter 3, beginning at verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, by the way, y'all should know, serpent is dragon, and dragon is serpent. She's talking to the same dragon that we see in Revelation 12 and 13. It's the same dragon. And so the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. She's discussing the commands of the Father with the Father's enemy, the dragon. The dragon's intent, remember, always is to degrade her. He cannot openly tell her that he's trying to degrade her, because the stakes here are even bigger than that. He wants not only to degrade her, to degrade Adam, he wants their dominion. He wants the dominion that was given to them over the earth. He wants it. And he wants them to give it to him. So she repeats to him what the Father said to her and Adam. And now he goes to work. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. This is the first proposal for a human to become a god. It's right here. Man still There are many religions, there's many offshoots, there's many people, groups that think that they are gods. There's many, they think they're God, and they'll promote that. Either as man is God or woman is God. All religions that's not the truth, the Most High, Yahweh, in the covenant, do it. Some are just more subtle than others, and some are more open than others. This is the first time. He said, you could be a God. Really, what he's telling her is you could be a goddess and your husband could be a God. And he caused her to be deceived into believing that in verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, question, how would she see? How would she see that the tree was good for food? How would she know that? So you're talking to somebody and they're trying to get you to eat something that you were not intending to eat. And they're trying to convince you that you should eat this. We were in Mexico last week, 2 weeks ago, and we were going and there were street vendors. And they would give you a sample of what they had to tell you how good it was. We were walking and there was this place, they had this thing called, it was like ice cream called gelato. And this man was walking with little cups of it and he let us taste it and we were following him, show us the place. We were going to buy some and we did, but we tasted it first. How would she know it was good for food before she bit it? He would have eaten it first. In other words, see, it's not hurting me. It's not going to hurt you to eat this. You're not going to die. See, I'm not dying. No, the reason he doesn't want you to eat this because he knows you'll be like a goddess. So she saw that it was good for food. Verse 6. And that it was pleasant to the eyes. So now she's seen that it could be eaten. She's seen the fruit looks beautiful. And the tree to be desired to make one wise, to make me a goddess. And she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband, and he did eat. I'm about to say something that's going to make the feminists upset. All of you feminists that's trying to teach Bible, that think you're supposed to be pastors or prophetesses. The woman is attacked first because she's the most gullible. Why do you think he went after her first? She's the most gullible. Why do you think a woman can't go to a garage or shouldn't go to a car salesman by herself? Do you ever know that? Don't go by yourself there. Why? The woman is liable to be beguiled. Simple. You think I'm making that up? Well, first of all, let's get Eve's own testimony. Genesis chapter 3. Verse 9. And Yahweh Most High called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid. That's something they had never experienced before, afraid. Father knew there was problem. Because I was naked and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? How hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldst not eat of it? So he's asking Adam, did you eat of the tree I told you, I commanded you not to eat? What did Adam say? And the man said, the woman, whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I did eat. He's not taking responsibility for choosing to eat of what he knew he wasn't supposed to eat. No, he's going to blame the woman. So he asked the woman, And Yahweh Most High said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? What did the woman say? The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. The serpent tricked me. I was fooled. I was tricked. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying a man can't be tricked. I'm telling you, according to the word, the woman's more gullible to be tricked than the man is. Let me give you another witness. 1 Timothy chapter 3. 1 Timothy chapter 3. First Timothy chapter 3. No, I'm sorry. It's 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 8. 1 Timothy chapter 2, beginning at verse 8. I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubting. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh woman professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. Adam was not the seed, but the woman being the seed was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. Now, let me break this down because it's been misunderstood, maligned. So it's obvious the woman was deceived. She's not supposed to be a teacher of the man. Because first of all, she came from the man. The man's in the image of the father. The woman's in the image of the man, as we just read. So she's not supposed to be trying to teach the man. I can't tell you how many women I get claiming to try to be teaching. One claimed to be a prophetess and she was sent to teach me. That would go against the word. Okay? That would go against the word. No. Woman could teach children. They could teach each other, for sure. And there are such a thing as a prophetess that's a woman, but she don't need to announce it. The spirit of the Father will be made manifest on her like it was on Deborah and other prophetesses. Those proclaiming themselves prophetesses, you could just already forget. Okay? Now, when it says she shall be saved in childbearing, what does that mean? A woman has the power to control the earth from her womb. There's a saying, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Every male that ends up doing whatever he does was born of a woman. And that woman can have influence over that male for good or for evil. So when it says she shall be shaved in childbearing, that's what we're talking about. Woman has the ability to take the seed of the man and produce a human being. And she has power from that over that human being. She can cause that human being to be a holy prophet like Samuel or to be Adolf Hitler. She has that power. That's what it says. She shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. She has power. But she's not a goddess. It's not intended for her to be worshipped. There is no female object of worship with the Most High. There are a lot in Babylon. The most prominent one today is Mary, the so-called Mary, the mother of Jesus, so-called. But there's been Diana in the Bible. There's been Ishtar. And as we're going to look here in Jeremiah chapter 44, the Queen of Heaven. There's always some form of female worship going on. In the degrading of the woman today, what the enemy has done is caused her to undress. If you go back 50 years, let's say go back 50 years and look at what an average woman in the United States would wear on an average day 50 years ago. So you go back 50 years, what am I talking? 1971. And you look at what an average woman wears today. The clothes that an average woman wears today, if that was brought back in time to 1971, they would call her a whore. She would be dressing like a whore. But if you said that today, something's wrong with you. We just read where the Bible says a woman should dress with modesty and sobriety. Why? A woman must understand the power that she has. Most of them know the power they have, and some of them misuse it. But the woman's been given power. Okay, the woman's been given power. And she has power in her look, in her eyes, in her expressions. She has power in her intuition, and she has power in her body. You must respect that power as a woman. And when you show respect for what you've been given, the man will have more respect for you. Women that reveal themselves to men lose respect for themselves and their power. And you and I know, like there's some younger girls that I see, some young girls, 10, 11, 12, 13, they have no idea what they're doing. When they put on scantily stuff and they showing themselves, they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to be fashionable. But you grown ones, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're wanting to show. And you know exactly who you wanting to see it. You're advertising. The holy women, I'm not saying you need to dress like the Muslim and just cover your eyes and wear black. That's extreme. The Most High is not into extremes. Modesty, though, is common sense. Having respect for the power that your body does have and for the power that you have been given from the Most High. If you use that power properly as the help meet to the man, you can become a dynamic team with a brother. With the right brother, not any brother, with the right brother. Okay? You become a dynamic team. Y'all can accomplish great things and bring glory to the Most High Yahweh when you have that understanding. But the problem is, in today's society, the understanding's been perverted. So that a woman thinks she's supposed to rule a man. They often think they're supposed to be in charge and teaching a man, especially in spiritual things. This is a falsehood. It's a straight falsehood. And many don't receive it, which is why one of the problems. Okay. Now, Nashia Wade asked a good question. Can a woman wear pants? I'm not going to say whether a woman can or cannot wear pants, but I'm going to say to you, when you're wearing the pants, are you revealing something that should only be seen by your husband? That's the question that should be really asked. Are you revealing parts of your body that really only supposed to be for your husband? When you wear the pants, are you using your power of your body for a certain way? These questions only, Miss Wade, you could answer, or any woman could answer. Your body has power. You understand? You have to understand that. A man, let's go back to Genesis for a second. I want to show you something. So Adam was made, Genesis chapter 2. See, we got to look at this slowly and carefully, and you'll really pick up a lot. Okay? Let's start at verse 18 of chapter 2. And Yahweh Most High said, it is not good for the man that the man should be alone. I will make him a help meet for him. Now watch. And out of the ground, the Most High Yahweh formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And Adam called every creature that was the name thereof, what he called them. And Adam gave names to all the cattle, to the fowl of the air, and to every beast. But for Adam, there was not found in help meet for him. So he was seeing animals and he was calling them names by what he saw. Right? Adam saw and he was calling. So in a man, the ability to see and feel and smell is powerful. And the woman has the ability to give off sense and sight and smells and touches that could drive a man crazy. Just accept you have that power. See, when I was a Christian, I used to fight it. I see a woman and she'd be looking good and I don't want to look. Man, come on. That's the power that's been given her. When a woman walks a certain way and she looks a certain way, brothers, y'all know they can stop traffic. That's the power given to them. Just this morning, somebody tweeted me something and said, good morning, handsome. Some woman. And I realized she tweeted that to 1,000 million people. And it drove some men crazy. Just her face smiling, saying, hi, handsome. And I thought about it and I said, see, that's the power a woman has. One of them. She has different powers now, but that's one of them. So you want to know how you're supposed to dress, sisters? What does it look like for you to keep your power concealed so that it doesn't bust out and hurt somebody? How do you do that? There's ways for you to do it. How do you wisely use your power that's been given you in your look, in your intuition, in your body? How do you wisely use that power for the good of you and your man, or for the good of you and for the glory of the Most High? How do you wisely use it? That's the question now. Because in our society, it's out of control. It's out of control. It's completely Babylon. Definition of confusion. It's out of control. The holy woman is the virtuous one that's described in Proverbs chapter 31. Read that when you get a chance. The holy woman is a woman of honor. Think about that, sisters. What would it mean to you to be a woman of honor? What would it mean to you to be a woman of honor? What would that mean to you? What does that look like? What does a woman of honor and dignity look like? Have you ever met one? I've seen some. Blow your brains, man. See, I got one. That's what I'm saying. And it starts with a spirit. Isn't that shouldn't surprise us, right? Father said, I'm going to put my spirit within you and cause you to walk on my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. So when a man is connected to the Father, it's a spiritual thing first. That sets the tone. That's why a brother that has married to a wife, the Bible says, see, in the days of the Apostle Paul, there were people that were heathen. He was actually sent to teach heathen that were Israelites by blood, that were dwelling among non-Israelites, heathen, and heathen that were straight heathen. And when they came to the truth of the Most High's Messiah from Israel, and they wanted to join, to be grafted into the nation, the scattered nation, that's what they were doing. Some of them had spouses that wasn't with it. Spouses wasn't with it. They were used to worshiping whatever they were worshiping before. They weren't with it. So the Apostle Paul gave counsel, and he said, if your spouse is not with it, but she wants to, or he wants to dwell with you, let them dwell with you. Because if you connect to the Almighty by his spirit, you can sanctify your spouse. You have that power without pushing anything on them, just by the spirit. See, it's not you and me to actually do the converting. If you haven't noticed, it's the spirit of the Father. Messiah said, no man cometh to me except my Father draw him. It's the spirit. And it's the spirit of truth. If your spouse decides, I can't handle this new religion you're dealing with, I need to be out, well, then you got to let him go. The Bible says let him go. And if you're going to get remarried to somebody that's in the same spirit. Don't go ahead and marry another heathen now. And we're not talking about color. See, color is brought up because the Caucasian man made it an issue. And he tried to say because we was brown and had melanin, we was cursed. And now we're finding out the brown melanin is the sign of who we are, the chosen ones. But it's not about the color. What God you worship? What spirit are you carrying? Who you repping? Is it Yahweh or is it white Jesus? Because these two different gods. Okay? These two different ones. So, to answer the sister more thoroughly, I hope I answered your question, but yeah, you have to ask yourself the question. How am I using the power given to me from the Father for his glory? How am I using the power that the Father gave me for my spouse that don't believe? How can I glorify the Father in honor and dignity in how I walk this walk in life? Ask him. His spirit will show you. I guarantee you he will. Now, with that in mind, let's go to Jeremiah. Remember, we're here for Jeremiah 44. And everything we talked about is going to be made manifest. As we continue to study Jeremiah, one of the themes that we have come across again and again and again, and we're going to see it, and we see it in all the prophets. It's in the whole Bible. And this is why people get confused about the mark of the beast. The Father's yelling through the whole books of Moses, through the prophets, and now in Jeremiah included, to his people, not to the earth, to his people. Don't worship other gods. Don't worship other gods. Follow the only true God. Follow him. Obey him. Worship him. Don't worship. That's continually the first commandment of the covenant. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not worship any likeness of anything, whether it be in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters underneath. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. That's the first commandment. That's the mark of the beast. Y'all need to understand. Ain't no daggone chip. Come on, man. It ain't a shot. Stop it. And then it reinforces it if you pay attention. Talking to you about an image that's being worshipped. Same chapter. All the gods of the nations are but idols, the Bible says. Yahweh made the heavens. He has not shown himself to any other nation. So you waking up, you realizing who you are as a Hebrew? Good. Praise Yah. Now only worship him. Forget all these other systems, camps, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, denominations, organizations, 501c3 corporations. That's Babylon. He's calling us out to worship him. And then he stresses this. There's only one God. Wait, let's go back to where we were in Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2. Let's go back there for a second. 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2, beginning at verse 1. I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life with all godliness and honesty. For this is good and acceptable in the sight of Yahweh, our Savior, who will have all men to be saved and to come into the knowledge of the truth. For there is one Most High and one mediator between Yah and man, the man Messiah Yahweh Shai. There's only one Most High. Ain't no church your intercessor. Ain't no pastor, ain't no reverend, ain't no teacher. Ain't but one God, Father Yahweh. He only revealed himself to one people, the same Israelite that wrote Timothy here. And through that people, he intends to reveal himself, as we read last night in Ezekiel. He said, the heathen going to know that he's Yahweh when he's sanctified in us. And he only has one mediator, one person that you need to get to reach the Father. That's Messiah, our high priest. Okay? Return to him. Him alone. And he will bless your way. He will give you wisdom. He will give you guidance. He will direct your paths. He will lead you in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. He will uphold you by the right hand of his righteousness. Praise the Most High. So now, Jeremiah chapter 44. Jeremiah 44, beginning at verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwelt at Migdol, and at Tahpanhes, and at Naph, and in the country of Pathros. So they were all in, what do we call that? Today, it's called what? Africa. All the Israelites, the Jews, they ran where? To Romania? Germany? Greece? Where they run to? We call the land today Africa. They ran to Africa. Word came to them while they ran there, because they weren't supposed to go there. They were supposed to stay in the land where they was. Okay, here it is. Verse 2, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation. Now remember, first before I continue, I want you to understand, this is the word coming from the Most High Yahweh to his prophet, Jeremiah. Okay, for Jeremiah to give to the Israelites that were in Africa. Okay, I'm just trying to make it in the modern vernacular so that you understand what's going on. So here is Jeremiah, the Hebrew prophet, giving the message from the Spirit of the Father to the Hebrews that was in Africa. Verse 2, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein, because of their wickedness which they have committed to provoke me to anger, in that they went to burn incense and to serve, here it is, other gods, whom they knew not, neither they, ye, nor your fathers. Howbeit, I sent unto you all my servants the prophets, rising early and sending them, saying, oh, do not this abominable thing that I hate. But they hearken not, nor incline their ear to turn from their wickedness, to burn no incense unto other gods. Wherefore my fury and my anger was poured forth, and was kindled in the streets of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, and they are wasted and desolate as at this day. Therefore now, thus saith Yahweh, the Most High of hosts, the Most High of Israel, the Most High of Israel. Wherefore commit ye this great evil against your souls, to cut off from you man and woman, child and suckling out of Judah, to leave you none to remain, in that ye provoke me unto wrath with the works of your hands, burning incense unto other gods in the land of Egypt, whither ye be gone to dwell. that ye might cut yourselves off, that ye might be a curse and a reproach among all the nations of the earth. Have ye forgotten the wickedness of your fathers, the wickedness of the kings of Judah, and the wickedness of their wives, and your own wickedness, and the wickedness of your wives, which they have committed in the land of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? So apparently, they were worshiping other gods. But it wasn't just the men. See, when the prophet speaks, he speaks to the men. I know that's hard for y'all to hear. But he's speaking to the men because they are made in Yah's image. But then he mentions their wives. He said, not only your wickedness, but the wickedness of your wives. What were they doing? What were they doing? Apparently, they were worshiping other gods, that's for sure. But let's keep reading. Verse 10. They are not humble, even unto this day. Neither have they feared, nor walked in my law, nor in my statutes that I set before you and before your father. Again, it all starts with repentance in the name of the Messiah toward our Father and returning by his spirit to his obedience to his statutes and commandments. It all starts with that. And he keeps bringing it up. You won't keep my commandments. You won't keep my statutes, and you keep worshiping other gods. Let's continue. Verse 11. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, behold, I will set my face against you for evil, and to cut off all Judah. And I will take the remnant of Judah that have set their faces to go into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, and they shall all be consumed and fall in the land of Egypt. They shall even be consumed by the sword, by the famine. They shall die from the least even unto the greatest. By the sword and by the famine, they shall be in execration and an astonishment and a curse and a reproach. For I will punish them that dwell in the land of Egypt, as I have punished Jerusalem by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, so that none of the remnant of Judah, which are gone into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, shall escape or remain, that they should return into the land of Judah, which they have a desire to return to dwell there. For none shall return, but such as shall escape. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah. So wait a minute. They knew they were the ones worshiping other gods. Their wives knew they worshiped other gods. And so when they heard this word from Jeremiah, from the Most High, how do you think they responded? Watch. Verse 16. As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of Yahweh, we will not hearken unto thee. But we will certainly do whatever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then we had plenty of victuals and were well and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her, to pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? Y'all think things have changed? Verse 20. Then Jeremiah said unto all the people, and to the men, and to the woman, and to all the people which had given him that answer, saying, the incense that ye burned in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, ye and your fathers, your kings, and your princes, and the people of the land, did not Yahweh remember them, and came it not into his mind? So that Yahweh could no longer bear because of the evil of your doings and because of your abominations that ye have committed. Therefore is your land a desolation and an astonishment and a curse and without inhabitant as it is this day. So they've been worshiping this queen of heaven, right? And claim to have all their needs met. But there they were, standing in Egypt with no place. Their land was destroyed, their houses destroyed, their leaders destroyed. And they're still saying, we were good when we worshiped the queen of heaven. And Jeremiah's telling you, you ain't got nothing. Look at where you at. And it's only because the Most High had mercy you didn't get destroyed before. That's called unrepentance. That's called pride. Remember in the last chapter, it said, all the proud men spoke against him. It takes a humility to come to the Father Yah and to seek his will. It takes a humility to come to Father Yah and seek his will. If you don't have that, you're going to be proud. And if you're proud, you're going to be in trouble. Like these people, like our ancestors, our cousins, our fathers and mothers from way back. That's who these people are. Okay. Verse 25. Because ye have burned incense, and because ye have sinned against Yahweh, and have not hearkened to the voice of Yahweh, nor walked in his law, nor his statutes, nor his testimonies, therefore this evil is happened unto you, as it is this day. Moreover, Jeremiah said unto all the people and to all the women, because women had the nerve to stand up and start talking in his face. Hear the word of Yahweh, all Judah that are in the land of Egypt. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, saying, ye and your wives both have spoken with your mouths and fulfilled with your hands, saying, we will surely perform our vows that we have vowed, to burn incense to the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. Ye will surely accomplish your vows and perform your vows, and surely perform your vows. Therefore, hear the word of Yahweh, all Judah that dwell in the land of Egypt. Behold, I have sworn by my great name, saith Yahweh, that my name shall no more be named in the mouth of any man of Judah in all the land of Egypt, saying, Yahweh Most High liveth. Behold, I will watch over them for evil and not for good. All the men of Judah all are in the land that are in the land of Egypt shall be consumed by the sword, by the famine, until they be end of them. Yet a small number that escape the sword shall return out of the land of Egypt into the land of Judah. And all the remnant of Judah that are gone into the land of Egypt to sojourn there shall know those words shall stand, mine or theirs. And this shall be a sign unto you, saith Yahweh, that I will punish you in this place, that ye may know that my word shall surely stand against you for evil. Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will give Pharaoh Hophra, king of Egypt, into the hand of his enemies, and into the hand of them that seek his life, as I gave Zedekiah, king of Judah, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, his enemy, and that sought his life. Brethren, this is what they did. They followed their own counsel and their own way to go where they wanted to go. They did not want to hear the Spirit of the Father. They did not wait on the Father's word at all. They had made up their minds about what they wanted to do. Don't be like them. Let us be wise. Let us seek our Father and his word. Let us wait on him to guide us where and when. Because if we move ahead of him, we're going to mess ourselves up. A lot of people are already doing it. They're trying to move ahead of the Father, assuming things. You know what happens when you assume? You need to wait and let the Father's will be done. See, my wife and I were trying to get to North Carolina. We thought the Father wanted us there, and we were pushing to get pushing, until finally we realized, wait, we're pushing against him. He don't want us there. And then the landlord called us and said, we're not going to put the house on the market. We want you to have it. We said, what? The Father opened everything up for us to stay right here. We were looking to see where we were supposed to go. At the end of the day, here we are. Brethren, I'm telling you, seek the Father's will. You have to push and go in different directions sometime because you're not sure. But he will make it plain eventually, as he did with us. He'll make it plain. He'll give you visions. He'll give you dreams. He'll give you impressions. He'll show you. But you got to be listening for his will. Sisters, Pray to the Father that you be taught the wisdom to learn how to carry your vessel with dignity and honor, and that you use the power given to you to help your man, to be a strength, to be a partner. And if you don't have a man, to walk in the spirit of the Father, regardless whether he give you a man or doesn't. Brethren, pray to the Father, who you are made in his image, that you should be wise, that you should be spirit-filled by his righteousness, that you should be an example to your woman. The Queen of Heaven, Sister Isha, is a good question. Sister Isha asked, it's a goddess that they worship. It's a goddess that they worship. Like it was like Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, right? Or like Mary, the Catholic Church goddess, right? That they worship. It was a goddess. It was a goddess that they worship. It was a goddess that the Israelites were worshiping, that they got from other nations. So they were worshiping this goddess called the Queen of Heaven. Yeah. And so they were so used to doing it, they were not worshiping Yah anymore. Yeah, they stopped worshiping him. And so that's what caused the problem. And so today, what I'm saying, in our society, there's a lot of different gods and goddesses. A lot of them. Untold numbers. But there's only one Yahweh. There's only one Messiah. And he only has one true people. Very simple. Okay, it's not complicated. Okay, we could seek him and he'll guide our steps in the way we should go. I pray that the Most High bless you and keep you in that way, that he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, that we be not as our fathers, worshiping the Queen of Heaven, creating goddesses, disobeying his will and his order. Let us follow his will. Let us follow his way. Let us obey his word and learn and grow. Sister Wade asked another good question. She said, where can I go that will show me if I'm doing the Sabbath correctly? This is going to sound strange, but you go to his word. You go to his word. And really, you just follow what it says in the covenant. I know, see, this is, and I want to say this, and Sister Way, you asked me very good questions. Let me just say this. Don't look at Ashkenazi Jews as your example for anything concerning the scriptures, but as far as what to do, okay? I want to make sure y'all understand that. Don't listen to them. Don't follow their ways. They're not Hebrews. They are not Semites. They are not the chosen people. They have their own religion, Judaism. It has nothing to do with us. Many of our brothers in the past have made the mistake of looking to them for an example of what to do, what not to do, how to obey. No. They are heathen. They're not the true Israelites. I know you're not, Sister Wade. I'm answering the questions for not just you, but for everybody. So I'm expanding your question to ask it for everybody. So what we do is according to as we are convicted by the word of the Most High. So let's read Exodus chapter 20. Let's read Exodus chapter 20. Exodus 20. And let's read from verses 8 through 11. Exodus 20 from 8 through 11. First, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. What does it mean that something is holy? Come on, y'all. I'm going to ask a question now. What does it mean that something is holy? What does it mean that something is holy? What does that mean? Holy means what? Holy, if you look up that word, it means set apart. It means set apart. Holy means set apart. In other words, the Sabbath day is set apart as different from the other days. Okay, that's the first thing. So really it starts in the spirit, right? So Sabbath is set apart, number one. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all that work. In other words, do whatever you're doing for 6 days, but there's one day that's set apart. So first thing we need to understand is that it's set apart, okay? But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Most High. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son nor thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. So he said again, on this set apart day, your household is resting. Okay, you're resting. All right, so I don't know, this is kind of obvious, right? But so you're not working. You're resting. Okay? We'll go into that more in a second, but y'all got that part, right? Okay. Why did we do this? Why? Verse 11. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So why? So he set apart or made this day holy because he rested on that day, as Genesis tells us, right? So we are resting. Now, let me just break this down a little further, not just for you, Sister Wade, but for everybody again. At the time of Moses, our brethren, our fathers, a lot of them were into farming. They raised cattle, sheep, goats, crops. Okay. There were people that had specialty skills like carpentry and working with iron. We know that as well, right? Working with iron, building houses, stone, things, stuff like that. But it was an agrarian society. It was a farming society. Okay. So when Moses is telling them to rest, they understood, we don't have to go in the fields. We're not reaping anything that day. We're not planting or sowing that day. And Messiah told them, but of course, you're going to water your animals, feed your animals, take care of your animals on that day. You're not going to neglect them, but you're not going out there to do farm work that day, right? Now, today, most of us are not farmers, right? Like most of us are not farmers today. Most of us do work that has to do with our brains today, right? So rest for us is different from rest for them. What do I mean by that? So this morning, my wife and I went on like a 3.5 mile walk. That was restful for us. Why? Because all during the week, we're behind the desk or behind the computer. So it's kind of the opposite. You understand what I'm saying? So we're out trying to get air and some exercise because during the week, we're behind the computer desk. Okay? The Bible tells us that at sunset is where the day begins. 7 days that he created, says sunset from even to even. And of course, also Leviticus say from sunset to sunset, you keep your Sabbath. So from Friday night, Friday evening, and generally we use 6 o'clock as a litmus because sometimes you in some places like in Alaska where they get 24-hour days or 24-hour nights, right? So we use 6 o'clock as the litmus. You try to, be prepared mentally, spiritually for the Sabbath, 6 o'clock, and you are entering into rest. Myself, what I'm trying to do is not think about bills, not think about business, not think about work. I'm trying to let all that go. My wife and I were just talking about this last night. We rested and we were saying that there's a solemnity in our house on Friday night. It's just so peaceful because we're not worried, we're not dealing with any of that stuff. Okay. And then, come Sunday, some Saturday night, it all comes back. I can go back, look at what bills I got to pay and whatever I got to do. But during the hours of Sabbath, the idea is to rest, to not cause worry. It's a spiritual thing, y'all, to not cause worry, to not think about work, to not worry about bills, to not bring up fights or anything. It's rest from all of that first. Okay, from all of that. So before we start talking about physical things that we should do or not do, we got to get the mental part right. We got to get the mental part right. We are resting. We're not worrying. We're not creating worry or bringing anything into our spirit that's going to bring worry. We're trying to rest. It was made for us. We weren't made for it. That's what the Messiah said. Sabbath was given for us. It was for our good. We weren't made for the Sabbath's good. So exactly what to do or not do, we could deal with that. But first thing you want to do is have your mind rest. Have your mind away from worry. You understand? So that's the first thing. Some people like to light candles on Friday night. You could do, if that gives you a peace, bring it. If you want to bring incense and that gives you a peace, do it. But you want peace. That's the idea. You want to create the atmosphere of peace. Okay? After that, you can deal with, the spirit will tell you, like somebody mentioned, yard work. Well, it depends. No, maybe you don't want to do yard work, but maybe you sitting behind a desk all week and Sabbath's the only day you out there where you can get some air. Maybe it's good for you on that day. You understand? Or maybe you don't want to answer that email from the company that you owe money to. Maybe you want to wait for that one. Maybe you want to deal no emails at all. But I don't want to make hard and fast rules about these things because the spirit is about what? Rest. It's about rest. Okay. It's about relaxing. It's about fellowship when you can. You can get that. And it's, of course, studying the word and praying when you can, of course. But it's not 24 hours of studying the word. I remember somebody said, you need to tithe your 24 hours and give 2.4 hours of study of the word and then offering for 20 minutes or whatever. I thought that was ridiculous. You don't want to make it a burden. The Sabbath is not made to be a burden. It's made for our good, our rejuvenation, our rest. Okay, that's what it's made for. Remember that. That's from that point, talk to your father and he will guide you in what to do and not do. It's not for commerce, not for going out and trying to make money. That's not the Sabbath, not for that. Okay. Now, there are some professions upon which they are okay with not keeping the Sabbath. You say, what? Yeah. If you are in the healthcare field and you got to try to save somebody's life on Sabbath, that's what you're going to do. Okay. I don't believe anybody, a doctor, a nurse, because you out here trying to save life. That's different. Or if you're a person that works electrical lines and the lines are powered down and it's Sabbath, and either people are going to freeze to death, or if it's too hot, they're going to suffocate to death, and you got to get the power back on. You got to do that. That's saving life. But I had a boss once. And he knew I wasn't working on Sabbath. I was managing a bank branch. And he's like, what if the bank is burning down? I said, there's nothing that you can tell me that's regarding money in that bank that's going to cause me to come in on Sabbath. There's nobody's life in danger because of the amount of money that's in the bank. Okay? That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Or if you're a police officer and there's a riot, or somebody got killed and you got to respond. That these are things that deal with life and death and public service to help people. Or if you're a fireman and there's a fire on Sabbath, you got to put the fire out. What you gonna do? Oh, it's Sabbath. I'm not gonna climb up that ladder and save that little baby. Come on, you understand what I'm saying? So there are certain professions that deal with life and death and public service that are different. This don't apply. But for most of us, obviously it does. You got that choice. So it's about rest. It's about rest and rejuvenation. That's what the Sabbath is about. Spiritual rest and spiritual rejuvenation with your Father, with the Messiah, with his Spirit. That's really what it's about. Okay? I hope I answered the question. I hate to say, do this, don't do that, and box you into that because, like I said, everybody has different scenarios. You're a farmer is one thing. If you're not a farmer, it's a different thing. If you're a nurse, it's one thing. If you're not a nurse, it's a different thing. You see, so, but it's about rest. It's about rest in the spirit. And you really are trying to, on that Friday night, when that sun comes down, you want to have that peace in your house. You want to have that rest in your house. You want to take all the stuff that brings stress to you and push it away for 24 hours. That's what you really want, right? And some of us got to prepare for that. You got to spiritually prepare, because you can't just turn it off, right? So you got to spiritually prepare for that, right? So praise the Most High. Well, I pray that the Most High guide you this Sabbath and bless you in the Sabbath with his rest and with his peace. And that he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you and lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Shalom.